Hello, I'm Dale Hoagie, Superintendent for the West Central Area School District. The WCA Board and I would like to thank you for taking time to watch this informational video. The video is comprised of several PowerPoint slides, plus explanations and comments from school board members and myself. We encourage you to continue your quest to find out more about our 3 ballot questions. Thank you very much.
Challenge, learn, succeed. These are words we focus on when making decisions at the board table. This school board and the previous boards before it have spent many years trying to come up with a solution for our facilities. Passing questions 1, 2, and 3 benefits all learners at West Central area, preschool through seniors, and strengthens our district.
The board has unanimously agreed upon a 3-site option that will bring the 5th grade back to a true elementary setting. Questions 1, 2, and 3 will set the district up for continued excellence in academics and athletics for the foreseeable future for our students and our staff.
Hi, I'm Michelle Messman. I'm the West Central Area School Board Chair. I've been on the board for 6 years. I want to talk a little bit about question 1. It's been a long road to get to where we're at today. A lot of research has been put into question 1, meeting with different groups and facilitating different discussions. And one of the things that we found when we were talking about question 1 was identifying what is an adequate amount of space. So we looked at the original rough draft floor plan from a couple of years ago. It was about a 75,000 square foot footprint, and went and pulled together a collaborative group of teachers from all 3 buildings, administrators, superintendent, maintenance staff, school board members, and really went room by room on the floor plan to identify what was an adequate amount of space. Which spaces did we need? Were there spaces that we didn't need? And were there spaces that we needed to add on? So things like preschool rooms, making sure that we had bathrooms built in there, really identified exactly what it is we needed for space. So that footprint decreased from 75,000 square feet to 58,000 square feet. One of the things that's built into the footprint for the South Elementary School is 1 flex classroom. And what a flex classroom allows us to do is when we have a larger group of kids and we need to split into more sections, to take that flex classroom and use it for that bigger section of grade that we have coming up. And as a result of that, and scaling back our footprint, it only left us with 1 flex classroom. Moving the elementary school from Kensington to Hoffman allows us the opportunity for kiddos that are between Hoffman and Barrett, if they're interested, to explore enrollment at North Elementary also. It also improves some efficiencies for our staff that are traveling between multiple buildings, with having a 7-mile distance from the secondary school to North Elementary and a 7-mile distance from the secondary school to South Elementary.
Hi, Dale Hoagie here at North Elementary in Elbow Lake. I'm going to talk a few minutes about the plans for this area with the upcoming building bond referendum. Directly behind me sits an area of the building that was constructed in 1966, and it's got about 40,000 square feet, and it's primarily a gymnasium, but there are hallways and classrooms that surround this area. You can see the classrooms behind me. This is an area where the primary portion of the renovation is going to be completed, and the other part of the construction project that is here would be behind me to my right. And you see a higher portion of the building, that's the food service area, the lunchroom area, and that's an area that would be demolished. And in its place, from the point where I'm standing all the way through to the street on the other side, this would become a bus drop-off area, staff parking, there'd be a parent drop-off, and there'd also be an area for visitor parking also within the property as it exists today. The area that I'm standing on, a portion of the green space here used for playground. Directly to my right, we have a volleyball court and basketball courts, and then to my left, a lot of green area that is outdoor playground space that our PE classes use. When we complete the project and add about 20,000 square feet to this structure, there'd be 2 academic wings that would come out from the existing building here, and those academic wings would be classroom spaces for our grades 1 through 5, and this would become a grade 5 site as well, so it would be moving 5th graders from Barrett to Elbow Lake, and it would now become a pre-K through 5 program in this location. The other part of the construction project, as we go into this building, the work that will be done inside with renovation will flow seamlessly into the new construction. So you won't really notice a difference going from the newly constructed areas to the renovated areas. And then on the exterior, the new structure that's built would blend nicely with the existing structure. The last part of the project here, the major portion, is the wing on the west side of the building is an area that would be demolished. So the playground space that you see here would be relocated to the opposite side of the building. So now our playground equipment, the outdoor green space, addition of volleyball, basketball, and then also another playground area for early elementary, all that would be located to the other side of the building. So not only would we have efficiency on the inside, we'd also have a nice area for our students and for supervision during recess time as well. I'm standing in the area which would be between the parent drop-off, the parent parking, and the bus loop. So this would be the concourse area that would be the new entrance to the North Elementary site. And so directly behind me, there'd be a new entrance developed. And then also to my left would be the new cafeteria commons area to my left. And then to my right would be an area where we'd add a couple of different preschool rooms. So there'd be an opportunity for parents to drop off directly from the parent drop-off loop, and they'd enter right into the building at that preschool area. And then further to my right, just to get an idea of where the first video is shot from, to my right, the tall area, which is the food service area and the auditorium, that's a portion that would be taken down, would be demolished, and then this becomes parking lot to my right and left. And it kind of fulfills the site where it provides easy access for parents, for buses, for students, and safe entry. And then also that commons area and entry is situated nicely between 2 parking areas to make it convenient for our parents as well. So thank you very much.
Hi, my name's Terry Christensen. I'm a school board member here at West Central Area Schools. I've been on the board now for, this is my 5th year. Just going to say a few things about the school bond referendum coming up. I've been on the facilities committee for 3 or 4 years now. Been looking at, we started back in 2018 with UNESCO going through every one of our buildings, the facilities, top to bottom, end to end, side to side, trying to figure out what needs to be fixed and what does not. So once we started looking at facilities and did a walkthrough of South Secondary, we've done a walkthrough of North, it was pretty obvious that our elementary facility in Kensington needed a lot of repair. In fact, we decided that was beyond repair and needed to be replaced. UNESCO's numbers from 2018 shows that it needs $8 to $10 million worth of repair. That's to be gutted, electrical, plumbing, heating, you name it, needs to be redone. So at that point we decided it needs to be replaced instead of repaired. And once we did that, I'm the board member that asked Mr. Hoagie and Chrissy Oakes, since we've decided to replace this building, where is the best location? What are the student numbers from the whole district? And it came back where there's more students located in Hoffman than in Kensington. And my comment at that point was, it makes no sense to replace a building where the students are not. And so that was, I said that publicly in a board meeting, and that's how I feel. It makes no difference to me where the school is located. All 3 of our kids have graduated. So when it comes down to numbers and data, that's how I feel. And so once we came to the board table and we started discussing those numbers, then it was plain that, and everybody, we have a 7-0 vote on a facilities issue. We haven't had that yet in the last 3 years. I'm a strong supporter of 3 schools, as long as the 3 schools are where they need to be. The ag to school credit is going to be a huge part of this. It's going to be 70% state aid as far as the ag to school credit. So the ag homestead will be $2.88 per acre, and the non-homestead will be $5.74 an acre for the life of the 20-year bond, and that'll be state aid that we do not have to pay. So that's a huge part of it, plus the low interest rates. We just feel like now is the time to do something, and we've been accused of kicking the can down the road for the last 10 years. I've said that in a meeting too. It's time we stop kicking this can down the road and figure out a way to maintain our facilities, replace our facilities, upgrade our facilities for the next 50 years. We could set our school district up for longevity.
Hi, I'm at South Elementary in Kensington, and the current building structure sits to my left. And one of the first decisions that the district had to make several months ago was, is this space something that's appropriate for use in the future? And through evaluation of inspection data that was provided by a company in the summer of 2018, renovating the space would be a costly venture, and there wouldn't be any spaces that wouldn't need to be touched in that facility. So the building has about 35,000 square feet. And the projected site size for a new elementary, based upon the needs that were established by school board members, the elementary administrators, a group of elementary staff members, their projection on space is 58,000 square feet. So we have a difference or separation of about 20,000 square feet, or a little more than 20. So if we combine what the cost of renovation and repair to this site is with the new construction addition, the cost would be about 70 to 80% of the new construction cost. But we'd still end up with a good portion of the building. The majority of the building would still be an old facility. So the board months ago made a determination that renovation and new construction at this site was not a viable option. Another thing that contributed to their decision, that if we add 20,000 square feet to this site, behind me as you go to the edge of the parking lot back there, the fence and the building, the parking lot on the end, and move toward the playground, it would fill this area. So by filling this area, we lose all off-street parking, we lose a little bit of green space, we lose that area adjacent to the playground. So for all those factors, it was decided that a new elementary for South would be in the best interest of the district. So then a decision had to be made, where would that be? And we will visit a site that in Hoffman that was ultimately chosen.
So one of the other key points that was pivotal in us determining the location of where South Elementary was going to go was really looking at infrastructure. With the Hoffman location, there's two major benefits to the proposed site that the elementary school would be. One of those is the infrastructure that Hoffman's already put in, water and sewer already running to those locations, so that the city doesn't have to incur the expense, which then trickles down to taxpayers, of putting in infrastructure to support a new school build. And then also just the location of where the building would go and the lack of development of the land. If you drive by there, it's a nice, smooth, flat location. It doesn't have to be built up. There isn't a lot of groundwork that needs to be done to put the school there.
I'm in Hoffman, and I'm at the site of the proposed elementary building that will be presented to voters for consideration in our upcoming referendum. Prior to making a decision on this property, the first thing that the board did was to make a decision or confirm a decision that they were not going to renovate at South and use that site. So when that decision was made, we looked at several properties in the Hoffman and the Kensington area to make a determination of what might be the best location for a new elementary building that we would ultimately call our South Elementary. So when we looked at data, we looked at proximity to a city, proximity to residence locations, the population concentration in the community, access with existing roads, access to existing utilities, water, sewer, power. We took all those things into consideration, plus the overall location of the Hoffman community to the district as a whole. So it was determined that Hoffman was probably going to be the better location because of proximity to the city and the number of people that reside here and the number of students that reside here. So when we looked at property, we considered all those data points that I mentioned earlier to come up with property locations in Hoffman that might be best suited for an elementary site. So we settled in on this location, and behind me it's easy to kind of make out where the property lines go. So as I'm standing on about the east portion of that property line, but as you go down the street and you come to the senior care center, that would be the west boundary. And then you follow that property, you get to the church. There's some smaller evergreens located there. And at the very south end of that would be the south end of our property. So we'd have a 12-acre tract of land here, and for enrollment that we are expecting at WCA South, that would be the appropriate size of a tract of land. 12 acres. It provides ample space for that school to be spread out. It provides plenty of green space for playground. It provides for off-street parking for visitors and for staff, and then also for safety features. It provides a parent drop-off location that's separate from the bus loop. So the area behind me, 12 acres, is the proposed site, and it sits on the southeast corner of Hoffman.
Even though I'm relatively new to the school board, I've been following the facility planning struggle for years. We are at a point that change needs to occur. With the passing of all 3 referendum questions, it will allow for change, improvement, and growth within the WCA communities.
The building bond referendum scheduled for this fall has begun to start some conversation in the community, primarily about the elementary sites. But there are 2 other questions on the ballot that will impact our students at WCA. One has to do primarily with academic areas, and the other one has to do with more of the co-curricular activities. So I'm standing behind the school building right now in Barrett, and I'm facing the tennis court. And one of the things that's to be done within that academic change is to develop a fitness area for our physical education program, but it also will double as a training area for our sports program. So the garage that's behind me would be removed to take into another part of the parking lot for us, and that area, a 27,000 square foot area, would be turned into a fitness space, a fitness center for our students. It would include cardiovascular machines, treadmills, some weight equipment, and again, like I said, it'd be used for physical education and also for co-curricular activities. And then between the tennis court and the existing parking lot, we've always had a concern at WCA of inadequate parking, and those of you that come to a football game or come to a wrestling match recognize that walk gets to be quite a distance. So the green space that sits between the current parking lot and the tennis court would become a parking area, and that would make it more easily accessible to our secondary school building site. Another project that we have would be refurbishing the tennis courts. They've sat in a dilapidated condition for a period of years, and the idea that we have is that we would refurbish the tennis courts and make them available again for our FIAD classes, but in addition to marking them for tennis, they'd also be marked for pickleball. And pickleball, according to my sources, is a sport that's being picked up by a lot of adults in our area, and across the nation it's becoming a very popular sport for us. And another part for us that has to do with more with the athletic portion of the project rather than the academic portion is our football team currently practices on our baseball fields. They don't have a full-size football field without being interrupted in some space by the infields, the agri-lime of the surfaces. So with movement of our softball, baseball fields to a different location, developing a new complex, the area that's to my left would have room for 3 practice football fields that would provide opportunities for our athletes, not only in grades 7 to 12, but also our youth programs also. And then the parking lot is immediately to my left. Parking lot would be, rather than gravel, that would have an asphalt surface placed on it also, and the surface would come through right where I'm standing and then become accessible to the parking lot that's going to be placed between the tennis court and our existing parking lot as well. So those are some of the things that would happen in this area of the building. There are other areas also that we'll move to, and I'll address what we plan to do with those spaces as well. Hi, I'm in the weight room at the West Central Area Secondary School. As you can see by the space in this area, we have equipment around the perimeter of the room, and this room is about 1,000 square feet. And when we bring a FIAD class in here with 15 to 20 students, it gets to be quite crowded. And the other thing about this room, it's set up primarily for a speed and strength, which is more applicable to our sports programs and developing speed and strength. So what we want to do is we want to make this more of a physical education space. We want to add a section onto our gymnasium area of 2,700 square feet. So now we have a dual purpose yet. So we have cardiovascular fitness, so our FIAD students are engaged in activities that provide for them lifelong fitness. So we'd be adding treadmills, elliptical machines, stationary bikes, but then all the weight equipment that we have here will be transferred there as well. Then after this room is vacated, this becomes another wrestling space for our wrestling program.
Hello, my name is Gary Sabalik. I've been a member of the school board at West Central Area for the past 6 years, and we as a school board have unanimously put together questions for you to consider on November 2nd, and I'd like to talk a little bit about question number 2, which is a little confusing. It's expanding classroom spaces, labs, and equipment to support STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, as well as career and technical education. We are truly blessed to be in communities that care and where we have opportunities to offer our students in the future. This question in particular will give additional programming opportunities for our students here at West Central Area that will allow them to come out with lifelong skills that they can use in the career fields that will support them and our communities into the future. Thank you.
One of the areas within question number 2 is a STEAM area. It's an addition, and it would fill in the area behind me approximately even with the wall and fill in this corner and come to about approximately where I'm standing right now. And that would add an additional 2,400 to 2,600 square feet of classroom space, and then another 1,000 square feet of meeting space. And we're often asked, what is STEAM? And it stands for science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And it's not just those programs, it's any curricular area in which staff members want to take their students for some collaboration. They have an opportunity to set up projects that could be left in those rooms on the tables or put into storage areas. But what it does is it provides an opportunity for our students to work through collaboration and some experimental processes and learn about the concepts of developing an idea and coming up with a product at the end. So the area part of that academic question number 2 is the STEAM area. Another area to be addressed under question number 2 of our building bond referendum is to improve spaces, expand spaces for our career and technical education program, specifically for vocational agriculture, our automotive program, and also for industrial technology. The area behind me houses those 3 programs, and the proposal to expand that is to add another 3,600 square feet that encompasses the parking lot and goes from where I'm standing and would line up with the end of the building that's existing there. So it's pretty easy to visualize the expansion of that, and it'll provide us more opportunity for our students to do work inside. We're in an area of the state in which vocational agriculture and some of these career programs are very key to us, and we want to provide an opportunity for some of our students to gain these skills in the classroom. I'm in the shop area of our VOAG department, and VOAG, we have a great program. We have 2 instructors, and we have one that works primarily with the plant-based or agronomy portion of our vocational agriculture, and the other one works primarily with the machine part, the thing that have to do with equipment and welding and cutting and things such as that. So this space that we're in, it gets cumbersome and crowded at times because of projects. You can see behind me over my left shoulder, there's a tractor that our students have gone through and refurbished. So when they bring projects in, it makes less space for our students to work. Behind me to our right is our welding area and our torch area. So we're kind of in crowded conditions. What we're planning to do with passage of question number 2 is to expand this space to provide more room, and then perhaps an expansion of our curriculum. We do have an automotive hoist in here, but with that automotive hoist, if you envision bringing a vehicle in here and other large projects, it really cuts down our space. So we really want to find additional area for them to work on those larger projects. And then the other thing that would be done in this area would be a cleanup, a modernization, and a renovation of the space that we're currently in as well.
Number 2 is a huge part of question number 2 is our ag sector here at the school. We're proposing to add 3,600 square feet to our ag department, which will be absolutely huge, with our greenhouse coming online hopefully this year. And I hope people in the district realize how lucky we are to have Mr. Swatsky spearheading this effort, because it's huge for our kids. It's gonna be a beautiful greenhouse in the back of the school where the kids can learn where their food comes from. How many kids don't know where their food comes from? So we'll be able to teach them. They'll be able to grow their own produce and learn how to do that. So that's a huge part of it. And question number 2 also is a part of the project there is replacing the back parking lot, because the back of the school needs repair. And so if we're going to have a greenhouse back there, our proposal is to have the back of the school look as good as the front of the school, because there'll be people coming to visit from other schools to see what Mr. Swatsky is doing. And so we've also proposed replacing the tennis courts in question number 2, adding parking space in front of the school closer to, so we would have parking all the way up to the tennis courts. And so that way in the middle of winter when it's 20 below out, more people are focused closer to the main entrance. So there's a lot of things in question number 2, along with the fitness area. Fitness for me is a huge part of our kids' lives. If we can teach them, physical fitness now, and that'll hopefully stay with them through the rest of their lives. And that's a big part of it. So question number 3, I think there's other board members that are addressing question number 3, but for now, just please get out and vote. And if it passes, if it fails, we'll have direction and we'll move on from there. So thank you very much.
We're in the industrial tech shop of the secondary school at WCA, and as you kind of peruse around the room here, you see well-equipped, a lot of tables for work, and we have an abundance of opportunities for our students in this classroom setting. The place where we probably run into a little bit of a problem is storage. So when these students begin putting projects together that are larger in size, whether it's a cabinet, a gun case, or something such as that, they begin to get a little bit crowded in here, and they're moving things around a lot. It also prevents them from doing any larger projects which would be structures such as buildings, and that work was typically done outside. And as we're in Minnesota, we don't always have the weather that cooperates with us. So by expanding an area here and adding a 40-foot section outside of this wall, what we get is we have additional space for expansion here, storage of projects, and probably taking on projects that might be a little bit bigger in size. We're in the Family Consumer Science room in the West Central Area Secondary School Building. Family Consumer Science, a lot of you might recognize that program by its prior name, which was Home Economics. And there's a lot more done in the classroom today rather than just the traditional things that were taught in Home Economics. Now, this room, when it was constructed primarily as a way in which we would replicate a residential setting or a home setting. And one thing that we'd like to add as an opportunity for our students is a commercial kitchen area. So it wouldn't convert the entire space to commercial kitchen, but would add a unit that'd be commercial kitchen, so they'd get a taste or a feel of what it'd be like to work at a restaurant situation. So part of our question too, the academic portion of our building bond referendum is an upgrade in this space.
I'm Maya Ulrich, and I'm a school board member here at WCA, and I just want to touch a little bit on how we came up with the plan for our sports complexes. As we were brainstorming on what does this all look like, as we got to the point of the 3 sites, we're going to do this for the schools, we started looking at the fact that this is a bond that's going to take 20 years to pay for. So if we want to get anything done with our sports complexes, this is the time to do it. We need to address some issues in our sports fields. We have 3 softball teams and 2 fields. We have 3 baseball teams and 2 fields. We have a track team that has never had a competition surface here at WCA. What do we do with those? So as we put together a sports complex package, we just said, if we're going to do this, let's do it all, let's do it in one shot and be done with it. And so we came up with the track, the ball field complexes, repairing the other field, fencing, those sorts of things. And we just felt that if we don't do it now, we're not going to be able to address it for the next 20 years, because our bond capacity is going to be, we're going to be past that. So the idea of doing sports complex now along with this bond is for the fact that economies of scale, we're going to have people here working already. Let's get this all done at one time, and let's push WCA into the future.
Question number 3 of the building bond referendum is to improve and expand areas for our co-curricular activities. The area that's directly behind me, the cornfield to my left, you can see in the distance a taller tree and a little bit of the school building in the back. And then there's a farmstead further to my left again. And this area compromises about 20 acres of land. And the proposal for this area is to add 2 baseball fields, 2 softball fields, a concession area, restroom area, and storage in this location. And the reason for the expansion or moving to the hill here above the school fields that are in existence is that we have 3 softball teams, we have 3 baseball teams, we have 2 fields for each of those programs. So in many instances, there's not a field for those athletes of the junior high team to practice on. And what we want to do is to maintain the 2 softball fields that we have, turn them into a baseball field for junior high, a softball field for junior high, and this becomes our varsity space for practice and for competition. So with that, the 20 acres provides us to move things apart. And then the other thing that allows us to do is that for our youth programs for our little kids who are elementary age. It provides a Ford Field complex for those individuals to have their summer practices and their summer games as well. I'm at the football field and track and field area of the West Central Area Secondary School. And over my right shoulder, you can see a portion of the track, the majority of the football field, and then also some area beyond the track and the football field area. So with our proposal within question number 3, we want to address our track area. We have a substance on there referred to as agrolime, or called agrolime, which is to be a porous surface, but you can see we have standing water, and that prevents our athletes from practicing on some days in the spring. And with the track, we also aren't in a position to host meets, so we want to put an all-weather surface on the track, either a 6-lane or an 8-lane track, so we can have practices in good conditions and then also hold track and field meets. The other part of the project here would be to put all-weather surfaces in the 2 end zones for our high jump areas. We'd also provide all-weather surfaces for our long jump pits, our pole vault area, and then we'd have a dedicated space for our shot put and our discus as well.
So the school board was very intentional about the process that we used to allow taxpayers to have a voice in this election. It's not a normal election year, it's a special election, and we had a lengthy discussion about, do you have a centralized voting place that voters go to, or do we do mail-in ballots? And we decided to do mail-in ballots. One of the reasons for that is to allow every single taxpayer within our district to have a voice. Similarly, instead of having one question on the ballot, we broke the questions into 3. One question is not contingent upon another, so if you're passionate about one particular thing, or 2 things, or if you're passionate about all 3, you have the ability to look at those questions separately and vote along that.